Good morning. This is Senior Topics, and I'm June Edwards, your host. And we're going to get started right away. This is for the week of June 14th. And happy Flag Day to those of you who like to celebrate all the different holidays. I hope you have your flag up and it's waving and a beautiful sunshiny day. All right, let's look at the calendar. It is also, besides being Flag Day, today is the birthday of the United States Army, which was set up because of the Revolutionary War back in the 1770s. It is also Caldecott Medal Day, and that was a contest to award the best children's book artists a special award. And there have been many, many wonderful artists down through the years for different children's books. And I collect children's books. I should have brought some to show you today, but I didn't have time to do that because we have a really packed class today. So let's keep going. Today, June 14th, is when sandpaper was invented, and it was invented by I. Fisher Jr. in 1834. Something so practical that you use when you're making furniture, when you're getting ready to paint a wall. And I had my rooms painted not too long ago. We're spending so much time in our homes, we're noticing all the little things that need to be fixed up around here. And so that's what we've been busy doing. On the 15th is Fly a Kite Day, and that is in honor of Benjamin Franklin, one of our original American inventors, among many, many other things that he was noted for. He did a kite experiment where he first actually proved that there is a connection between electrical energy and lightning. And that was in 1752. I don't know if it's going to be windy today. If it is, take a kite out and fly it. Oh, I love to watch them on the beach. You see these beautiful dragon kites and all different kinds of birds and cartoon characters. And I think it was Garfield the cat's birthday last week, one day, and even a Garfield kite out on the beach. That's pretty cool. Looking at the 16th of June, National Fudge Day. Oh my gosh, I love fudge, and I have to be so careful on my diet. It is also World Sea Turtle Day, and this is the time of year when many of the sea turtles who had already gone ashore, and many of the areas where they lay their eggs are protected. And now there are many people out there watching and helping. There's going to be hundreds of little baby turtles just creepy crawling their way back out into the waves and getting out there. And of course, there are seagulls and other kinds of carnivorous birds waiting to kill off a bunch of the sea turtles. So I'm glad that there are some dedicated people to help some of these baby sea turtles make it out on the 16th. The 17th is World Jugglers Day. Have you ever seen those guys throwing their balls up into the air? I couldn't do it with more than, I tried it. I can do maybe two balls, maybe three on a lucky day, but that's about it. Also, the 17th is Eat Your Vegetables Day. I have to say that one vegetable that I absolutely love to saute in olive oil and then eat it is zucchini. I don't need any butter with it. I just saute it in olive oil. I'll put other summer squash with it, and it's just so, so delicious and good for you. The 18th is International Picnic Day. You get the chance to go out on a picnic, or maybe you have a picnic in your back area of your residence in your yard there. Okay, I was right. On the 19th, Garfield the cat is a popular cartoon. That sarcastic little cat that has so many pithy sayings about people and life. And he's just got a little bit of an edge to him, and he's a funny cat. His birthday is on June 19th. Also, June 19th is something called Juneteenth. And many of our Black Americans, especially those living in the South, celebrate the Emancipation Proclamation from President Abraham Lincoln, where the slaves were officially freed on that day. Another cartoon debuted on June 19th. That was Tasmanian Devil. And that came out in 1954 in the newspapers. I still like to read the comics whenever I get my hands on a newspaper. June 20th is American Eagle Day. That is our national bird. And you know, the bald eagle has been making a comeback. It is no longer on the endangered list because in many areas, especially in our national parks, the bald eagle is protected and it's coming back. And they're such a beautiful, majestic bird to watch them. And you can't miss them. Their body is black, but their head is white. So they called it a bald eagle. And they're huge, big wingspans. Also on June 20th is Ice Cream Soda Day. It was very popular in the 1950s and even somewhat into the 1960s. You could go to a Woolworth store, sit at the counter with a date, or go there to meet a boy or meet a girl, or just hang out with your friends and order an ice cream soda. Reminds me of root beer floats. So if you want one, the day to get it is June 20th. And then the first day of summer also can be either June 20th or June 21st, depending on how the calendar falls. It is known as Summer Solstice Day. It is the longest day of the year, which means it is the latest that you will see the sun set. So if you think, oh my gosh, I really wanted to enjoy the sunset tonight, well, on that day, on June 20th and 21st, you can sit out there face west and you can watch it. Where I grew up, much further north from California, we would have it as late as 9:30 at night. When I went to visit some of my husband's family in Norway several years ago, they had sunshine in Oslo, Norway, up until about 2 in the morning. And the only way you could actually get to sleep was to put blackout curtains on your windows. And then, of course, the sun would rise again at 5 in the morning. And in parts of the north, it is sunshiny the entire 24 hours because our earth is tilted towards the sun, the brightness of the sun. And of course, in the southern hemisphere right now, it's winter. It would be the opposite. Also, on the 21st is World Music Day. And I don't know about you, but I appreciate good music any day of the week. And so that's what's coming up here. Wow, a lot of things to think about. So I want to go back to Flag Day. I got a copy of the American Legion magazine, and it has a story about the real Betsy Ross. I wanted to show you the cover. Look at this nice drawing. And there she is, and she's wearing her wig and she's sewing. But who was Betsy Ross and why was she important? And it's nice to turn to the story, The Legend of Betsy Ross. Here's another picture. We learned about this in school, and you can see the kids. They dress up in colonial women's costumes, pretending to be the famous seamstress. And why do we think that Betsy Ross was the one who developed the original flag? Well, she certainly told her family that, and we do have records as early as 1777 of her filling orders for the flags in her well-known seamstress shop in Philadelphia. But let's go back a little bit further than that, and we can see, now let's see if I've got it in here right. Oh yeah, okay, that Betsy Ross was a widow at the age of 24. She had met her husband. She grew up sewing with an older sister and several friends, and they sewed all kinds of things: curtains, bed coverings, dresses, men's beautiful waistcots and their pants, and they sewed tassels and they made covers for things, and they made many, many different kinds of things. Well, the two of them had met and married, she and John Ross, married in November of 1773. And between the two of them, they had saved enough money they could open their own shop. And then they were together about a little over 2 years. And then John died and left her a widow. And it was the same month that Thomas Paine's famous pamphlet, Common Sense, came out and started stirring up all the revolutionary uh, feelings in the Americans because of all the heavy, heavy taxes. And they didn't want to take it anymore. And, there were taxes on cloth and imported goods that came, they depended on so much from Great Britain. Well, when they started the revolution and refused to pay the taxes, they were cut off from a lot of these things. And so Betsy was quite an entrepreneurial woman. She had to survive. And so she had to decide, that the leaders of the colonial resistance were urging people to boycott imported goods, kind of like now we're saying, buy American, support the small businesses, support the American economy, not the ones overseas so much. And it might have been more expensive, but people were willing to do it, like a lot of people are here also today. And so, as a show of their collective strength, craftswomen like Betsy had to get their own cloth and they had to weave it, and they had to trade in other building crafts as well. And so they tried the Buy American impulse. And so Betsy took out an ad in the Pennsylvania Gazette, and she said, quote, "We offer the first American tassel maker that ever brought that branch of business to any degree of perfection." And that's how she did it. They wanted her to browse her stock of fringes, cords, mattress covers, and every sort of thing that she could offer. She was trying to distinguish herself from the other seamstress in town, George Ritchie, who was from Scotland, and he had a shop called the Crown and Tassel. And she wanted people to know that she was an American. She was also a Quaker, but she really, really supported the fight for independence in our country. And she had all kinds of upholstery work: beds, chairs, easy chairs, French chairs, sofas, couches, settees, window curtains. So the story goes that George Washington, and we've actually found evidence of this with historical documents, went in there. He was a new delegate representing the colony or the new state of Virginia. And he was at the First Continental Congress, and his wife and he were setting up a new home in Pennsylvania. And so he began to order everything from Betsy Ross's shop because she supported the American cause. So then the story goes that she was asked by George Washington if she would please come up with the furnishings for their house. And then when the Continental Congress decided to come up with a flag, and by then it was the Second Continental Congress, they gave her money, and he gave her a sketch. Now, the sketch, we think, was actually from Mr. Robeson, Franklin Robeson, but Betsy changed it. For one thing, she took her scissors and with one snip, she changed this six-pointed star that was popular in that day into a five-pointed star, which legend said would be much easier for them to sew. And she made it a 5-pointed star. And that is how the story happened. And we know that she weathered the rebellion well. She had remarried, lost her second husband, and married a third time. And especially by the War of 1812, Betsy and her husband, John Claypool, secured a number of contracts to make garrison flags for the U.S. Army and banners for the Indian Department. I want to show you some of the early flags. I have a friend at one of the facilities, and he showed us different flags. Here's flags at the Battle of Bunker Hill. The Bunker Hill flag, the one on the top, and then the Continental flag, what it looked like. Excuse me. Here's some more early designs. The Bennington flags in the early days of the war. They knew it was going to be red, white, and blue. And the stars were showing a new constellation in the sky, which is how they thought of the country. June 14th, 1777, the committee of the Second Continental Congress made this one with the circle. And that's the one that eventually came in. And then when they had a couple years later, 2 more states joined. And this is the flag that lasted over Fort McHenry on the night of September 13th, 14th, 1814. This is the one that inspired Francis Scott Key to pen the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. And here's some other designs. They knew they would keep the 13 red and white stripes to remember the original states or original colonies. It's a 20 star, a 34 star. Here's the 48. The 48 came into existence on July 4th, 1912, and served the country for 47 years. And then we know that in 1959, we had a different flag for 1 year when Alaska joined as a state. And then in 1960, the 50 star flag was adopted, and that's where it stands at this point. We don't know if we're going to get more after this or not. Look really close at how they designed it. So they've had their hands cut out for them. But a lot of that is because of people like Betsy Ross, who gave their all for their country. And we remember her. There's a code for the flag that you have to follow. Never let your flag touch the ground. Be careful and remember that we always honor our flag the best that we can. Now, the next item that I want to go on to was about electricity. And this is Fly the Flag Day, which is June 15th. And I've lost it here, so I'm going to go back in and find it again. My notes came off of here. Yes, Benjamin Franklin and the kite experiment. And here's a painting of him flying it. This is him as an older man flying it. Actually, he was still fairly young because he took his son William out into the field. And it was on a June afternoon, June 15th, in 1752. The sky began to darken, and Franklin knew that he was going to get a thunderstorm. It was in Philadelphia, and so most of the citizens were hurrying to get inside before the rain, but not Benjamin Franklin. At one point, he had originally thought he would climb one of the church steeples, and he would take his metal key on a string, and the flag would fly it aloft, and he would tap into lightning to test his theory of lightning and electricity being related. But then he found out, no, it would probably be easier just to go out and do a field and do it. So he wanted to demonstrate it. So he took his son William with him, and they went out to this approaching thunderstorm, and he did not discover electricity. People had been writing about electricity for centuries. Many scientists back to 1,000 years before knew about electricity. He also, when he flew his flag up into the sky, he did not want to actually touch lightning because it would have zapped him and killed him dead. No, he just wanted to get out there and feel the static and the electrical ambience of the storm. And so Franklin's kite was not struck by lightning because he would have been electrocuted. No, what he did is the kite picked up the ambient electrical charge from the storm. And when he noticed that the hemp string was wet from the rain, but he noticed that it would conduct an electrical charge quickly and it would go down into what was called a Leyden jar. It was a type of, it was like a glass canning jar, but it was a special jar that could store the electrical charge, which he would take back to his laboratory in his house and use for other electrical experiments. So he waited, and then he noticed, just as he was beginning to despair, he noticed that loose threads from the hemp string were starting to stand up in the electrical charge. So what does he do? He moves his knuckles on the closer to the key. And as the negative charges in the metal piece were attracted to the positive charges in his hand, he felt a spark. It wasn't the full thing, but he felt a spark. And he got a very evident electrical shock. And so he used the Leyden jar. He collected a lot of what was called electric fire, and it could be discharged at a later time. And then he went on to explain his experiment in 1752, a few months later, in the Pennsylvania Gazette to show other scientific minded citizens how to conduct the same experiment. And then he continued working with electricity to perfect the lightning rod. And here is a photograph of a painting from 1856 depicting Franklin's famous kite and key experiment. His son William was still quite young at that age. So actually, we think he was out in the field when he did it. But there's so many wonderful paintings of him doing it. I like this one. And that's not what his son looked like, but it's showing like a cherub, angelic little boy. But actually, I think William was maybe in his teens at that time. So that is the story of Fly a Kite. You can fly a kite in honor of Ben Franklin on June 15th. Now we're going to skip over a bit, and I want to look at Father's Day, which this year, it's always the third Sunday of the month. And this year it's on June 20th. Why do we honor our fathers, and who invented Father's Day? Remember, there was a resistance to making Mother's Day official because the legislators in Congress made fun of it and said, what now? Are you going to try to have a special day now to honor fathers as well? And they laughed at the idea, but Mother's Day caught on pretty quickly. It was while listening to a Mother's Day sermon in 1909, the idea of honoring your father, having an official Father's Day, suddenly struck a resident of Spokane, Washington, by the name of Sonora Dodd. She wanted to honor her own father, who was a farmer. William Smart was well deserving because he was a widowed farmer left alone to raise his 6 kids, which he did by himself, and run the farm. And it only took one short year, and the Spokane residents embraced the idea so warmly that by June 19th, which was the first Father's Day celebration, it was proclaimed in Spokane in honor of Dodd's father's birth. Decades later, in 1966, President Lyndon Johnson designated the third Sunday in June as Father's Day. and it has been officially celebrated every year since 1972, when President Richard Nixon signed the public law to make it permanent. So Sonora Dodd is basically the mother of Father's Day. And there are some interesting facts about Father's Day. About 75% of the people in our country like to celebrate Father's Day. And roses, red roses, are the official flower for Father's Day. You wear a red rose in your lapel if he's still alive, a white one if he's deceased. And it is celebrated in many other countries of the world now. Although in Spain and Portugal, they celebrate fathers on St. Joseph's Day, since he was the human father of Jesus, on March 19th. In Australia, it is celebrated on the first Sunday in September. It's a big day for the more than 70 million fathers in the country. Nearly 95 million Father's Day cards were given last year in the United States, and it is the fourth largest card sending occasion. Sons and daughters send 50% of the cards that go to their dads. 20% are purchased by wives for their husbands. And that leaves 30% of cards which go to grandfathers, sons, brothers, uncles, or someone special. And what kind of gifts? Well, it used to be the necktie. But I noticed that a lot of the men, especially newscasters and politicians, are not wearing ties. They're leaving the top button of their dress shirt open, and they're being a lot more casual than they used to. So neckties have gone out of style. But tools like hammers, wrenches, screwdrivers are always popular. Fishing rods, golf clubs, any kind of sporting goods, they like that. And if they have a sweet tooth, they definitely like that too. Well, here's some more interesting Father's Day trivia for you. Uh, the first American president to support the concept of Father's Day. I can't imagine why they would not support it, but the first one was President Calvin Coolidge. He did so in 1924. So from 1910 to 1924, it took 14 years for the idea of having a special Father's Day celebration. 14 years for that to come to fruition. Wow, that's pretty odd to me. I don't know why. Uh, Greeting cards are still the number one gift item, since neckties are not. And 1/3 of the cards given out on Father's Day are funny, because a lot of our men have a sense of humor. Have you noticed that about American men, and maybe men in other countries as well? And it is believed that the word dad, D-A-D, dad, instead of calling him father, the term dad goes back to the late 1500s. So that word has been around for about 700 years. And what else can I tell you? There are a lot of more dads wanting to stay home with their younger children. And especially since the pandemic, where people were forced to stay home in lockdown situations, a lot of men are finding that they don't miss the long commute to work, and that they enjoy setting up an office in their home if possible. And many families now are splitting the child care responsibilities. Many dads with full-time jobs regularly work evening or night shifts, and they are the primary source of care for their preschoolers during their children's mothers' working hours. And that's interesting. What are some other dad facts for Father's Day? Just a few. Halsey Taylor invented the drinking fountain a couple years after the idea came out for Father's Day in 1912 as a tribute to his father, who succumbed to typhoid fever after drinking from a contaminated public water supply in 1896. The father of our country, George Washington, he's our celebrated father of the country, had no children of his own. A study was done in 2004 that suggests the type of tuberculosis that Washington contracted in childhood. He also had smallpox in his teenage years, may have rendered him sterile. He did officially adopt the two children from his wife, Martha Custis Washington's first marriage. And in Thailand, the king's birthday serves as National Father's Day. The celebration includes fireworks, speeches, and acts of charity and honor, and the liberation of captive animals. So I want to wish all of the men in our group a happy Father's Day. I hope the women make you feel like the king for the day. And I'm so happy that we have all these wonderful days and celebrations, and we need to celebrate our lives for as long as we are alive. Be grateful that we have the gift of life. I want you to stay safe, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of you face to face in the not too distant future. Bye, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful, sunny, beautiful day.